Hey, wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between eating healthy and eating right for you and your type. So I think a lot of people in this kind of intermediate stage of going from eating crap and processed food and kind of your typical American diet and starting to clean it up, going more vegetables, going more brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, chicken breast, salad, less, again, less pizza, less crap, less hot dogs. Um, I think they kind of run into this hurdle where they don't feel so great, right? So they cut out a lot of shit and they feel like they should be feeling awesome and they actually start to feel maybe not so good, right? Whether that's tired, low energy, not sleeping well, super hungry, loss of strength, any number of factors can happen, and that causes the individual to then start reconsidering this quote unquote healthy eating plan and think, well, maybe shit, I don't feel that great. Maybe this isn't the plan for me. And in their mind, the only option is to go back to eating kind of more of your crap, traditional, normal food diet. So, what I would like to talk to you guys about real quick is what's healthy for one person does not necessarily mean it's healthy for another. So, all foods cannot be considered healthy or unhealthy, as the individual chemistry of each person is different and it can vary dramatically from person to person, and the same foods can have different effect on different individuals. So just because your best friend eats a very low fat, high carbohydrate diet and has great energy, great skin, great muscle tone, feels great, all that stuff, blood markers come back great, it doesn't mean that diet would necessarily work for you, right? We've all heard about the Atkins diet. We've heard about the Pritikin diet. You may not have heard about it, it's old, but basically it's like super low fat, high carbohydrate, and every diet in between. If you guys aren't familiar, the Atkins diet was one back in the day that was all high fat, high protein, very low carbs. We've also heard stories of people that have followed all of these different diets and done really, really well. And then we've also heard stories of people doing those diets and doing really poorly. So someone follows the Atkins diet and has a heart attack in 3 months. Someone follows a high carb diet and has a heart attack in 3 months. And other people have followed the Atkins diet for 20 years and their blood markers are great and they're thin and muscular. So the reason for this is that the biochemical individuality of people varies, and some people will respond to a higher fat, higher protein diet. Some people will respond to a higher carbohydrate, lower fat diet, moderate protein. And this will vary, again, from individual to individual, and it'll vary even within an individual throughout their life. So what we're looking at there is basically a fuel mixture, right? We're looking at, if you think about engines that require a certain type of fuel, if that fuel is off, the engine's just not running smoothly. You give that engine a better fuel mixture, and it runs perfectly. Our bodies are similar. We might be taking in the right foods, right? We might be taking in, organic eggs and oatmeal and fruit and veggies and rice and clean foods. But if we're taking them in the wrong ratios, and this is where we talk about macronutrients, we're taking in the wrong macros, too much protein to carb, too much fat to carb, and if our ratios are wrong, our body's not going to run well and we're not going to feel good. So the trick at that point is not to bail on the healthy eating plan, but again, to talk to somebody with expertise in the field who can help you figure out how to dial in those macros. How much protein, carbohydrate, and fat. If you think you need a 1,500 calorie a day diet, there's a very big difference between the majority of those 1,500 calories coming from protein, the majority of them coming from carbs, or the majority of them coming from fats, or an even spread. I'm not saying that one is better than another. It's not possible to say that for every single person. But what I am saying is if you're eating healthier and not feeling well and not feeling good, something is off, okay? Because when you're eating properly to be fit and healthy and strong and lean, you should not be tired all the time. You should not be exhausted. So a lot of people have been brainwashed into thinking that they have to make a choice between looking good and feeling like shit, right? Because they're like, well, I'm on this diet, I haven't had carbs in 2 months, I feel like ass, I can't even talk to anybody, my brain is fried, but I'm down 2 sizes. So they're choosing between being thin or being lean or whatever, and like feeling like shit. And like that's a tough call, and one that is there's no winning. There's not a good answer to that. when you find the right diet for your body type and the right balance of foods, you should feel fucking awesome and lean out at the same time. So it's an easy decision. It's easy to stick with it because you actually feel great and look good, right? So that is totally possible. I don't want to drag this on too long, but quick story myself. Back when I've experimented with every diet there is, and back when I followed more of a traditional low-fat, high carbohydrate, high medium protein bodybuilding type diet, very low in fat, the key, I felt terrible all the time. I was hungry all the time. My energy levels went up and down like the wind. I was super duper moody. Never knew what side of the bed I was going to wake up on. Literally thought I was going to need to get on meds. Just couldn't figure out like what was up, why from day to day. I couldn't determine if it was going to be a good day or a bad day. And the nerdy scientist in me wasn't ready to accept that it was just a chemistry thing. I always felt like it was a chemistry thing, but I felt like it was something that had to be under my control. And after I talked to a brilliant nutritionist after years and years of searching, she's the one that taught me that my body responded better to a higher fat, higher protein diet, particularly the fat part, and that with the higher fats, it would slow down how fast I was converting food into energy, which would eliminate these swings I was getting, because what was happening is I was converting my carbohydrates into energy so fast that I was just dropping off, blood sugar crashes all day. Now, granted, I wasn't eating great, but I was eating, what appeared to be at the time healthy foods to me, but they just weren't cutting it for me. So when I switched to a higher fat diet, that sustained me longer, controlled my blood sugar level much better, and it literally changed my life. So it was something that I was very stressed out about, very upset about, concerned about, thought it was a serious problem, and a lot of those things can be cured through nutrition, because 90% of the way you feel, your energy level, sleep is a huge one. So you got to get enough sleep. So that's a whole other topic. But if you get enough sleep and your energy level is still all over the place, that's food and alcohol related. So if you got the alcohol taken care of, and keep that as minimal as possible, because that's really going to mess up your blood sugar. If your energy levels are all over the place, it's definitely diet related. So you got to sit down and keep a logbook of a few days, record how you feel after you eat certain foods, and remember, good meals should make you feel better, right? The old Thanksgiving, just ate and then you got to go take a freaking nap. Like, that's not how you're supposed to feel. If you're at work and you have a big lunch and you come back to the office and you want to sleep for 3 hours, that's not good, right? Not good for business, not good for productivity, not good for the way you feel. So if that happens, look back at that meal and let's figure out why did that meal crash you, right? Now, it's not as easy as it seems, because maybe it wasn't that meal. Maybe it's the fact that you didn't eat for 5 hours before that meal. So there's a lot of factors, and too much to get into right now. But bottom line is, food is a gigantic factor in controlling your mood and energy levels. So if you're not feeling good on your clean, healthy eating diet program, don't give up. Just hang in there and figure out what needs to be tweaked, because you should feel fucking great when you're eating good. All right? Talk to you soon.